Uh, Good morning, uh, and um, happy Sagadawa. Um, as a few days ago, we had a discussion on about the Sagadawa. In this month, it's called the 100,000 multiple month. So whatever we do, it increasing 100,000. So that way, um, I thought maybe start this teaching from today and try to go to much as I can next few weeks. This is called the Treasure. What is the text name? I forgot. Yeah, the Jewel Treasure of Advice, 100 Teaching from the Heart. And this is a request by someone, but that person is still not there. So I myself not really familiar on this book before, but I read some of Khenpo Rinpoche's commentary on this text, and also of course, generally all those teachings on this text is more familiar for me from other teachings of the like Gongchik and Tenzin. Those are really main texts of the Drikung, and also many teaching from the Lord Jiddu Sumgun, and also a great Kagyu master like Marba, Minla, Kamboba. So I think because of those reasons, so maybe we can go through and especially in these teachings, a lot of those are, I think, familiar from the Kadamba masters also teachings there. So we can say like a Kamboba's text, this one is also teaching from the both side of the Kadamba tradition and the Mahamudra tradition, which is united by the Kamboba, so come through the Kamboba to all the Kagyu lineage. So I think those two together, you can see when go through the teachings, and also this one is not just some kind of advice. This is also really, if you go to detail, stage by stage will guide you, stage by stage will lead you down there. So we will try to go through this much as I can, and if there's some and this text is a, I didn't, maybe people may think I redo from Khenpo Rinpoche's work. I didn't do, change from the Khenpo Rinpoche's work, but in this text have problem is a Tibetan original text itself have a large misspelling. And that misspelling is continually going on. I look on that book published in Tibet, old one or new one, and also published in India, earlier one. All they kept going on same mistake. And later, Khenpo Rinpoche published one book, all the Kagyu masters, teachings put together to one book. In that book, Khenpo Rinpoche put this book, and in there some corrected, but still some of them are obviously need to correct. Otherwise, the meaning is a totally changed. So I will show you a few of them down there. So I think mainly on that, and so because of those some mistaking, and the English meaning is became really difficult to explain on that because of that mistaken spelling. So we try to correct, me and Kemo, we try to correct much as we can. So don't take don't mistakenly think that I try to fix what Khenpo Rinpoche did. Nothing have to do with the Khenpo Rinpoche's fixing or anything, because I mean, I'm not who I am. I'm not capable to do anything what Khenpo Rinpoche can do. It's just like try to fixing Buddha's teaching to by ordinary one. That's so it's just impossible to I can anything touch, but because of the obviously text itself have some mistaken spelling. I think mainly that one, and it's nothing wrong repolishing English because in Tibet, when they're translating text from Sanskrit to Tibetan, they did many times, like 2, 3, 4 times. Sometime one translator read it, sometime, many generation, different translator, redo on those, so that how it, make the perfection of a what called text. So I think those reason is I'm not trying to be steal from the Khenpo Rinpoche's work, or I'm not trying to be correcting what Khenpo Rinpoche have done. It's nothing have to do with that. So just I want to straight the record. Then so now we try to go through this text much as we can. It's called the Jewel Treasure of Advice, 100 Teaching from the Heart. So this is come from the heart of one of the great master. Most of those teachings, like this kind of teachings, come from their own experience, and not necessarily everything match on us, because individuals' circumstances are not always the same. But those advice are suitable to us. Sometimes maybe some advice not really suitable, as especially when monks giving advice, to the maybe this audience also directly was a monk, and sometimes it's not necessarily all of those are suitable to the lay people. So when we receive this kind of teachings, everything is precious. Okay, first of all, everything is precious. But second of all, I think we have to, just follow to the things that are suitable to us. How much we can do. Because if you try to do everything, literally try to do from the book, then sometimes it's really difficult. So I heard this one is His Holiness Dalai Lama was giving teaching on the Shantidevasa why Bodhisattva conduct. So one Tibetan said, if we study this book, there are no way we have hope of free Tibet. Because I mean, in the Shantideva Bodhisattva contract said, you have to think about other more than yourself. So whatever you have to give to the other. So from that to then, sometimes it's not necessarily suitable to your circumstance. Like in the what call this Gamboba's one text said, living in that hometown is a really bad idea. All the defilement, afflictive emotion will increase from there. So immediately leave your hometown to go somewhere else. So those are suitable to the monks or ordained, but not to the lay people, because the lay people have their own responsibility. They cannot do like that, things. So that way, I think when we're studying books, things that we can do and things that we cannot do, but we have to pray that one day I can do this all. So that way, in the we said we have two kind of bodhicitta. Like for example, aspiration bodhicitta and action bodhicitta. Aspiration, you have to make aspiration as great as you can. There's no limitation for the imagination or hope or wishes. We have to make greatest. But when come to the action, actually engaging, then you have to do much as you can. Like even those Bodhisattva, if you look the Bodhisattva life story called the Norsang, his life story, he received each training about bodhicitta from one master, and that master said, I'm only expert or I only know this training from Bodhisattva's trainings. Each one giving him one teachings on the one training. So that is showing us even those great Bodhisattva, they emphasize on the their own way to train bodhicitta with the following by what they can do. So I think this reason, when we're starting, of course, we have to put greatest hope and wish that you can do this all. But when actually doing, then you have to do best on your capacity. Because when you try to do something beyond your capacity, then it's a problem come out. So lots of people receiving special high teachings. And since they receiving high teachings, it's a huge gap of reality and imagination. So they imagine themselves as on that state of the highest one, but reality we are not there, and we couldn't catch that. We couldn't experience that actually. That imagination, fantasy. So lots of time we live as a fantasy Dharma practice. So because we couldn't do all those things that is so fancy one, and it looks really fancy, sounds really fancy, but I actually when come to the practice couldn't do. So then there's a it's like we live in the Walt Disney. Looks beautiful, huh? Disney World. Disney World looks beautiful, but it's all artificial. Nothing is real. So we have to be practical. So how to be practical is just follow based on your capacity. We don't have to be great Bodhisattva, like a great Bodhisattva, It is not going to be, if we cannot become like those great Bodhisattva like Avalokiteshvara or Amida Marba, Mila Gaboba, that kind of great practitioner, we not become a less practitioner. So we have to do much as we can. So that way, and not necessarily all these texts, teaching from this text, all the 100 advice we can follow. It's not necessary. Even we can follow one advice. Just learn all the advice, just follow one advice. Once we make that commitment, don't give up, even the risk of your life. That is more important than try everything. When we try everything, we become familiar for everything, but nothing is accomplishing. So I think that reason, I'm not saying so don't study everything, just study one word. Because if you study everything, even you want to learn one, it becomes more clear. If you only try to learn that one, it never becomes clear. So just start openly, everything. But try to focus on the practice as whatever you can, is also lots of practice. There's a different practice. Is the individual have a kind of a karmic connect. Individual have some kind of a karmic connect from the past life to some practice is more suitable to this individual, but not necessarily next one. So that reason, based on our own capacity and karmic connection, and then we should do that one. That try to do our best. Dharmaradza, Bhande Dharmaradza, he's saying is a, I'm writing this my own motivation. I want to motivate myself from this exhortation or motivation to myself to follow practice, because I think this is a what I experience as myself as a, when I'm giving teachings, for example, I really don't know I'm really helpful to anyone or not. I have no confidence of I'm helping anyone, but definitely it helping myself. Every time I talk, I read, it helping my understand becoming better. It helping myself remembering more, or I mean, so I think this is a bring myself into deeper into that teachings. So definitely it helping myself, and I really hope from this talk some people can gain benefit. So that's my wish and hope. But definitely it really helping myself. I mean, I'm not saying I'm doing for myself. Okay, I'm not saying as a selfish way, but practically, yes, it's true. It's really helping myself. So I think this is a tool. All those masters, when they're writing, I don't think so. A lot of them have a idea of I want to become a famous, or I want to become like a great author to make lots of money, or this. I don't think so. Any of those what called the plan involved there. When they write it down, a lot of them are actually wrote down their own footnote. Like Gamboba's Jewel on Liberation, he originally wrote as his own note when he's receiving teachings. That note is become a book. Make sense? So I think writer or teacher, or lots of time it really benefit ourselves too. So what I'm saying is when people writing or teachings, is not doing always a favor to the other. There's a kind of like a take and give both involved there. So one is the reason is he said that one. So similar way, I mean, it's come later. I will talk to a little bit about how to be humble. Similar way, when Shantideva wrote the Vaya Bodhisattva contract, he said, I just wrote only to familiarize myself on these teachings. So those are not really totally faking. People may think, oh, just being humble, sarcastic. Sarcastic, yes, some kind of sarcastic way, I mean, not really sarcastic way. I think this is really mean to that for them. Like Shantideva, when he said, it's really mean. When Bhande Dharmaradza, when he is saying this one, I think really mean, not pretending. Make sense? Yeah. So I think because it's practically, it's true. When we do these things, reading, writing, memorizing, as a first person who gain benefit is that individual, that who the person who is working on that. Then from there to maybe secondarily, thirdly, and other people can gain benefit too. Okay, now first one is a pay homage. It said, one pointedly, I respectfully supplicate to the Supreme Victoria Ranashiri, Supreme. Okay, then, and the one who hold the name Bhadra, the embodiment of all the refuge, please grant your blessing so that I may actualize the life of Lama. This one is a Bhande Dharmaradza, Raja supplicating to the founder of a Drikung Gergyu called the Lord Jidisumgunus. One pointedly, it means that without the doubt, without the hesitation, without the distraction, mind one pointedly pay homage, one pointedly supplicating, or one pointedly devotion toward to the Guru. Who is the Guru? Is the lineage Guru, Lord Jidisumgun, and root Guru, also Bhadra as his Guru. Sorry. So he is pay homage to you. What? So why Jidin Sumgun? Because he is the founder of the lineage. And Kunjule Sambo is his root guru. From the Jidin Sumgun II until first Holiness Cheza and first Holiness Chungzang, and Drikung Gergyu is a lineage holder of the family lineage called the Gyura family. Achi mentioned that one in the future from our family come great practitioners. So it's just like a, I think maybe about 5-6 centuries, all the family, Gyura clan family. And around, I think, 17th century, and last one came to holiness. And when they pass away, they don't have any more heir. So, and famous Drikung holiness, first holiness Chungzang registered recognizing his own teacher, I mean his own brother's reincarnation. So that reincarnation of his brother as a Kunjutile Sambo. So when Kunjutile Sambo became the throne holder and first Chungzang, Drikung Dharmaradza passed away, and he was born in the Jang. It's really far away. And at that time, when they recognizing, Kunjutile Sambo give a detail about where his, Guru Rijishara was born. So it's a far Jang. It's near actually Vietnam, between the near Vietnam and China and the corner of that area in Tibet, called the Jang. So, and Kunjutile Sambo wrote all detail what kind of child is which is the reincarnation of a Rijishara. So they found the Dharmaradza as a reincarnation of the Rijishara. So then, because of that, what called the Kunjutile Sambo is the root guru of Bhande Dharmaradza. So that is how come Drikung have two holiness. Some people thought, Drikung have one holiness and have two reincarnation, because there's these days lots of two reincarnation coming. There's no two reincarnation. Both holiness are two brothers. First, both holiness, two brothers. So that way, older brother is called the Cheza Rinpoche, and younger brother is called the Chungsa Rinpoche. It's come that way.
Isn't Chungsung in our current Chungsung isn't he actually older than Chetsang?
Yeah, I'm going to, by age ranking, I mean that Chungzang is older. So there's one joke. Holiness Chungzang, I think previous one is a really tall one. So he went to the Himalaya region area. So, and he's big, he's really tall in the Tibetan way. He's kind of tall, I think big one. So people said, if Chungzang is this big, how big Chezang is? Chezang means the big, So people thought Chungzang and Chezang is based on their body size. So it's nothing have to do age or anything. It's just first one as an older brother and younger brothers. Those two brothers reincarnation come, Chezang and Chungzang. So So he's a root guru as a Kunjatila Sambo, recognizing the Bhande Dharmaradza, and so that way he pay homage to those two. And these two are the Lord Jedusumgun, and Kunjatila Sambo. Those our guru are in embodiment of all the refuge. Like we always said, deity is a manifestation from the gurus. Three jewels are inseparable from the guru. So in the Vajrayana, guru is called the sixth family. Sixth family means the compounded of all the families. When it said compounded of all the family, means that it's inseparable of all the different families of the deities. So that way. Embodiment of the refuge means the guru is the Jedusumgun in here. Jedusumgun and Kunjatila Sambo, those two are inseparable of the three jewel and three root. So that way. Then, so now here is pay homage. Please grant your blessing so that I may actualize the life of Lama. What does actualize the life of Lama mean? Actualize the life of Lama mean that you follow the footstep of Guru. What Guru have done, how they become complete enlightenment, how they become successful at practice. So what they have done, we have to learn all those. Generally, I think this is, you can say generally, life story is already just past story. Doesn't matter. It's whatever happened is happened, cannot change. But from the past, that reason we have to remember all those gurus' life story. So why we have to remember the gurus' life story? So that way we can follow their footstep. So then when we follow to the footstep of the guru, then we can continually carry on his legacy. So this is it. This one is, I said, I may actualize the life of Lama. It means that I may carrying the legacy of Lama. What is the legacy of Lama now? The temple is the legacy of Lama? Is the position of the title is the legacy of Lama? Or his practice is the legacy of Lama? Yes. Lineage is come from the view, meditation, contact. If you know those three, you can say, I belong to this lineage. Contact. If you don't know about the view, meditation, and contact of this particular lineage, you cannot say, I belong to this lineage, because you don't know what the lineage. Somebody asked me, are you Drikung Kagyu or are you Kagyu? I said, I'm not sure. Because I'm not that great of those knowledge of the view, meditation, contact. So questionable, myself too. I really not sure I'm belonging to the Kagyu or not. Sometimes I question myself that I'm not really sure I'm Buddhism or not. Because those are not because you took refuge card, you have refuge card show, oh, I'm Buddhism. It's not become Buddhism by showing the refuge card. So I think, so this reason, when we said I may actualize the life of Lama, mean the carry on his legacy or her legacy. That legacy is the wisdom. Like a Buddha's legacy, Buddha left legacy of the teaching is three trainings. Training of the morality, training of the samadhi, training of the wisdom. So that is another way we can say view, meditation, contact. So how to carry on those three training is through the view, meditation, and contact. View means that you have to understand the meaning of that practice. Meditation means you have to follow with that meaning continually. Familiarize that you learn something. and you have to familiarize that one, because your knowledge and your personality is have a huge gap. So have to make those closer. How to make your knowledge and yourself as a closer is it through the meditation. That way called the familiarizing. Then once familiarize on that, one day we can become actualized. That is what mean the. So for that need the support of contact. How to carry on that meditation continually, unmistaken view, carry on the meditation continually by support of the contact. So I think that is how we can actualize the life of Lama. Some people think that, oh, I have to actualize the life of Lama as a whatever Lama wear, I have to wear that one. Okay, now next one is being humble. So said, I don't know much about the true way of life and have not started a various classes of knowledge. So I'm not qualified to write this word of advice, but because my personal assistant, have asked me to persistently, I will briefly sit down and whatever comes to mind. So sit down. So this one is being humble. This is I think important for the Dharma practitioner. I think one of the most greatest obscuration of the Dharma practice is arrogant. Arrogant is, I think, actually more obstacle than other emotion. Yes, other emotion are more stronger. So one of the Drikung master called Tsultrim Rinpoche, he said, from those 5 emotions, like ignorance, attachment, aversion, and jealousy, and pride, 2 as easy to come and unrecognizable is pride and jealousy. So sometimes we cannot recognize it, they are good or bad. Yeah, supporting or not. So sometimes we think that it's a good things have a pride, good things have a jealousy. So lots of time we couldn't recognize ourselves as a negative emotion, those. So these 2 are easy to come and really difficult to recognize. So that reason we have to eliminate all the pride of being arrogant, because long as we have that pride of arrogance, then it's become our own enemies. Why that was the more obstacle than other emotion is because even you have other emotion, you still can graduate, you still can develop the wisdom. But if you have a pride, it's just like you come with a full cup and asking more tea. If your cup is already full, you cannot put anything. So pride is like that. Even you can receive, not going to go in there, it's go outside. We will immediately reject with that idea. So I think this is a problem for us. Sometimes we go with the full bag. Like a few days ago, I was talking with some people. I said, when you go to the grocery store, you shouldn't go with carrying the bag with already full. You empty the bag and go to the grocery store. So that way you can use that bag as a carrying product you bought from the grocery. So similarly, when we're receiving teachings or whatever Dharma practices, we should be, shouldn't fool our mind with the arrogant. So have to be humble. Humble is a down to the earth. When you're down to the earth, everything received to you. In the Buddhism, we said it's like when raining, even if it fall the rain on the top of the hill, top of the mountain, water will not stay there. Water will run to the lower part. Even the valley, they don't get the rain, but all the water come to them. So that way, even we receive those old teachings, if we are with the mountain of pride, we will never receive the water of wisdom. No matter how much you get the teaching of rain. So that reason we have to be down to the earth. We have to be humble. We have to be what called like
receptive.
Yes, I think something like that. I try to figure out some kind of vocabulary. I try to become rich vocabulary, but they are nothing. So see, this is empty stomach. There nothing come out because I'm on the top of the mountain myself. Okay, so this is showing us. He said, when the Dharmaradza said, "I don't know anything." Two way of life. Two way of life is talking about the one way of life is a worldly life, like a mundane life. So how to do in the U.S. It's called church and state. Yeah, church and state.
Yeah, church.
Yeah. So those are two way of life. Church have their own rule and regulation or how to live the life with the spiritual way, and state they have their own rule and regulation. Yeah, I think something like that. So basically talking about the mundane culture or mundane tradition and the spiritual tradition. So those two together sometimes it's a little bit difficult.
Temple.
Yeah.
Church, temple.
Temple. Yeah. Okay. So this is called the secular as well as a religious system. So two kind of system. There's secular system and religion system. So that way, so he's saying he doesn't know much about both of them. So have to give advice from one of those. So that way, he said, just being is humble. Have studied various class of knowledge. Also, he said, I don't have that much knowledge because I'm not educated one. So, Khenpo Rinpoche's commentary, he put here is like a 5 minor knowledge and 5 great knowledge. I'm not sure have to put all of them. I mean, can be knowledge goes all those. But here is basically talking about I'm not good educated one. I'm not educated one. So I cannot give you good advice. I don't have myself good education. You have both way you have to educate. If you want to be mundane education, you have to go to the regular school. School will give you all the education. Yeah, that is one way of system. Mundane way of system is you in the school you learn the art, you learn the politics, you learn the language. You learn all those things that how to be good for the society. Then you go to religion school and you learn how to live as a spiritually, how to live as a correct spiritually practitioner. So that kind of knowledge, he's not have those knowledge. That's what he's saying. So that way I have not studied various class of knowledge. So I'm not qualified to write those words of advice. So that way advice have to give someone who have the experience and great knowledge. But because of you, my personal assistants, this is one of the his main assistant. What was his? Kunjo Tande. Yeah, his name is Kunjo Tanden. It's come end of the text. So he requires, so I will briefly sit down, whatever comes. So he sat down, I mean the write down, whatever comes in mind. So this is showing us a being humbleness. I think so humble is the, the, how to call that? Why up, can say improvement, way of accomplishment, way of high realization. So if we are obscured by the pride and arrogance, those high realization and improvement and what called graduation of education, whatever is not going to come. Yeah, we don't have the capacity to go further. Yeah. Further. Yeah. So I think the reason this is showing us his humbleness. But when you read down later in the text, then you can see, is he knowledgeable or not? Make sense? Yeah. So I think for the politician, when they run the office, they have a legal advisor. The legal advice give you that advice that makes sure you're not breaking the law or you're not breaking the system. Okay, that's called the legal advisor. So the advisor have to be expert to knowledge or have to expert to the system, then give you advice. Similarly, the spiritual way advisor is called the teacher. Teacher have to give the advice to make sure you're not going extreme of any kind of extreme, or you're not going to mistaken path. That is teachers advisors of the teacher's job is to make sure you are following to the path that correctly. So both of them have to have a great knowledge or expert to give the advice to someone. Otherwise there's we have one joke. Sometimes like we become like that. There's someone, he pretend like he was great teacher. There are lots of devoted to him, follower. Then one day they insist him to give teachings. So, and he have no knowledge at all whatsoever. So they put him really fancy on throne, and they request him to give teachings. So he sit on the throne, and he's repeating, not knowing is a suffering. Not knowing is a suffering. So he actually suffering because now he doesn't know the Dharma. So he's really suffering that he have nothing to give. Make sense? So that is showing us a, both advisors need great knowledge to give the advice. So that reason when the Dharmaradza, he's saying, I'm not great knowledgeable to give those advice. But I mean, this one is a more like a, I'm not sure you can call this a sarcastic.
Are you saying self-defamation?
Yeah, something like that. It's not necessarily it's true, but showing as his humbleness. Yeah. Okay, something like that. You're using fancy word, which is behind my capacity. So, okay, now here said, a body endowed with leisure and fortune is the supreme basis which is the difficult to find. You have entered into the precious teaching of the Buddha and especially have heard the Vajra Dharma. So don't waste your human life, cherish your practice. This means that when you have the body with the all the condition, in the jewel ornament, basically for the basis of the Dharma, as have a physically two and mentally three. Physically two is a leisure and endowment. Leisure means some kind of freedom, that you are not caught up with the unfree of circumstantially not free to practice Dharma. Yeah, some are circumstances are not free to Dharma because of their situation of like a great suffering of the like three low realms. Or some are not suitable to practice Dharma because your circumstances say you don't have enough encouragement of the practice Dharma because you live as a guardian, as a lecturer. And some are also not have a capacity of a sense faculty, like you cannot understand, you cannot hear. So there are lots of obstacles. Basically, we divide into those eight, called the eight. Eight leisure, yeah? Yeah, eight leisures. Eight leisure means that those eight beings are not capable to practice Dharma, like a hell, hungry ghost, animal, long life God, even within the human, a wrong view holder, absence of the Buddha, mute, and barbarian. Yeah?
So there's leisures
Yeah.
and down.
So those are, it's called leisure, because you are one of those, you are have no good chance to practice the Dharma because your condition is not good. You are not capable to practice Dharma. So you are free from those. That way it's called the freedom or leisure, yeah? Yeah. Then endowment means that even you want to practice, you're free from those, but you need the necessary condition to complete the practice. So you have to check yourself. Do you have those all conditions and you are free from the practice Dharma or not? When you are free from the unfavorable condition and have all the conditions that you can practice the Dharma as from the outside and inside. Outside mean the like a teacher teaching, those all. Inside mean the your own faculty, capacity, time, health, and all those are suitable to practice of Dharma. When you have this all together, that's called the precious human. So that is become a precious. So that is what is mean the supreme basis. It's mean the best practice, base of the practice. This is so that way, based on this, human life is a more better than God realms. Why? Because human have a better condition to practice the Dharma. So that way, it's called the supreme basis, which is difficult to find. But human life generally human life is really difficult to find, and especially human life with the leisure and endowment is a very, very difficult to find. Yeah. So you look around you, how many animals and how many human beings. Compared to the animals, human number are really small number. Within the human beings, how many are really seriously interested in the Dharma? So that is a really small number. That way it says very difficult to find. You have entered into the precious teaching of the Buddha. So this is a precious. Why is a precious teaching of the Dharma? Because it gives you the great benefit. That way it's precious. If teaching is not giving you the great benefit, and it cannot be precious. So how it become a precious is we have to recognize. Like if you recognize it, it's a really expensive diamond, yeah. But if you're not recognizing, it's just one of the stone. So precious is it become when we're recognizing it is. So that way we meet with precious Buddha, precious teaching of the Buddha. Especially have heard the Vajrayana Dharma. You know, so what is the Vajrayana? Is just different between the Sudrayana. One is Sudrayana is called the causal vehicles, and Vajrayana is called the resultant vehicles. So why is a Vajrayana is a resultant vehicle? Is because the Vajrayana is is called the Vajrayana because they practice the union of how to use wisdom and method, which is of the three Vajra, union practice of the wisdom method of the three Vajras. The Vajra means the indestructible. That is called the Vajra path, Vajrayana. So what is the union of the three Vajra? Mean the Vajra body, Vajra mind, Vajra speech. So all the appearance are union of the emptiness and appearance. That makes us a Vajra. Appearance, everyone have appearance. Everyone, long as you have eye, you can see the appearance. But only who have a wisdom eye can recognize they are inseparable of the emptiness. Union. Make sense? That way it's called a Vajra body. And the Vajra speech means the union of the sound and emptiness. When we recognize sound as an inseparable of the emptiness, that's called the Vajra speech. Then same thing as a Vajra mind. As a thought as an inseparable of the emptiness. So when we recognize as a thought, then it's become wisdom. When we recognize it as a thought, then it's become a conceptual thought. So who can recognize as a thought, its own nature, is become liberation. Who couldn't recognize its thoughts, its own nature, is become a source of samsara. So that way, we are already carrying on the result of the these three Vajra within the path. So that way, it said Vajrayana means the union of the three Vajra, yeah, of the method and wisdom as a path. So that is what is mean the Vajrayana or Vajra path, indestructible path. In Dharmaradza? Yeah. So that is a difference between the Vajrayana. One is called the Palayana, another one is called the Hetuyana. Yeah. The resultant vehicle and causal vehicles. Okay, so say don't waste your human life. I mean that like don't waste. I mean pretty much no. So cherish your practice. Let's cherish, diligent, put important. I think those are same. As a cherish is mean the just put effort to practice without the wasting time of our life, because our lifespan have a only short number. And Padre Rinpoche said life is going further and further like a sun. Every single moment never stop. And death is getting closer and closer like a shadow. Shadow or called, what called? Sun, when sun rising? When the mountain is come. Huh? Down.
Dusk.
No.
I mean, dawn.
Yeah, it's come closer, closer, closer. So that way, I have to put effort to diligently practice the Dharma. Then, so also we have to recognize that according to the cause and example as a so forth, later in difficult to find. Even as one is born in the human vast region, remain without the Dharma. Buddha appearing to teach the Dharma very rarely. In particular, it's probably possible to hear the teaching of the secret mantra. Life doesn't stand still for the even moment. So think carefully. Can you afford to waste this leisure and fortune? So something that's really difficult to gain something that's called the human life. It's really difficult because if you look the cause of the human life is a moral ethic. Chandragiri is in the middle way is said all the great qualities as not just only human life, including to the all the from the Bodhisattva here and their great quality is based on the moral ethic. And all their cause is the moral ethics. So especially reborn in the higher realm. So higher realm, like a human realm and a God realm, is a result of the moral ethic, and the lower realm is a result of the immoral. Say immoral.
Yes.
Immoral. Yeah. So that way, it's really difficult to carry on the cause. As we can check, if we try to live as according to the live as ethical, it's really difficult. But if we try to live as a really deceitfully or unethically, it's really easy. So that way, holding the pure ethic is really difficult. And without the pure ethic, cannot born in the higher realm. So there's someone told me, like those really famous people on the path, the dog and cats. Actually, their life is much better than ordinary human beings. They eat much more expensive food, more healthier food than what we can afford. They have a servant. Actually, Western animals are really a fortunate one. Humans have to work hard to feed them, take care of them, without a complaint. If you have to do with your parent like that, you will complain after the 1 year. But you really happily do with your pet. So their life is really fortunate. So we say is those kind of animals, they did lots of generosity, but not did the moral ethic. So that way they're born as animals. So whatever, so being live life ethically is really difficult. So without the ethic, isn't really not you're not going to born as a human beings or precious human one, especially. Then example is there's a really famous quote from the Shantidevasavaya Bodhisattva contract, and from other sutra also said, like hypothetically, this samsara is like big ocean, and on top of the ocean is there's one yoke, and bottom of the ocean is a one total, and yoke have only one hole. Yeah. Yeah, one hole, and total is blind. And total only come up on the surface for once in 100 years. So reaching to the total neck to the yoke is pretty much impossible, because yoke never stay in one place, and also total not come all time. But they said it's harder to gain precious human life from the lower realm is harder than that one. Then in the Vajrayana, there's another example. Is if you stand the needle up, stand up, yeah, then you throw the bean on the needle. Okay, you throw the bean on the needle. Basically, it's really, really difficult to stay the bean on the top of the needle. Harder to be born in the human is more harder than that. That kind of, there are many examples is mentioned. So those are talking about how difficult to find, and so forth. Mean that also compare the numbers. I mean, there's a lot with the hell and hungry ghosts and the animals, but we don't know actually, from the human eye, we cannot see the hell and hungry ghosts, but we can see the animals. You can find, literally, you can find around your house animal number enough to compared to the whole planet, the human beings. From 1 yard can find. So that is showing us when compared to the number of the animal and the human, we said this is like a daytime and nighttime stars. Daytime rarely see the stars. Only sometimes you see here they are bright one. And nighttime you see the thousands of them. So compared to the human number and the animal number, it's like a day and nighttime stars. So that way, by the number, if you try to match the number, human number is much smaller than animals. So then from the human to especially the leisure and fortunate one is really difficult. Like if you if you try to find the, okay, don't just say Dharma practitioner, just say spiritual practitioner. How many of them human beings? Percentage. Nowadays actually becoming less and less and less. I heard in the Europe, most of church are empty. Only people use for the wedding and funeral. So that is showing us people getting less interest on the spiritual. That's because we are in the age of the degeneration. So even some getting interest on the spiritual, but how many percent of those are really seriously practitioners? So when we try to bring to the truly seriously practitioner, that is a really small number. Make sense? Some have an outside condition, some have inner condition. So those are not really help, So when we look those on, it's not just only human beings, precious human one. It's a really small number. So, I mean, you look the Milarepa, when he met 100 Gombotoje, Milarepa said, generally precious human is really difficult, but a person like you, it's not that difficult. I mean, have a population problem. It's not that difficult to find a human life, but precious one is really difficult. Just forget about everyone else. We just examine it, measure our own life. How many hours of the day we seriously practice Dharma? How many moments, how many hours of how many times of the a minute or hour we really think about the Dharma? So when we try to measure this way, it's become percentage is become really small. Yeah. I think that reason is called really difficult to find. Even one is born in the human, where vast region are remain without the Dharma. So from within the Buddha, called the fortunate Buddha comes, one great eon comes. Then from there to like 100 eons, there's no Buddha. Then after the 100 eons, there's some Buddha come. Sometimes like 700 eons take to the come fortunate eons, which means the Buddha comes. So every eon, they are not Buddha actually. There's one storytelling. There one eon named fortunate eon, one Buddha came. From there to until next one, 100 eons, no Buddha came. Make sense? So that way, it's not always a Buddha's teaching is on the earth, on the planet of the human realm. So that way has without the Dharma, it's called the dark age, Mibekeba, dark eon. Buddha appearing and teach Dharma very rarely. So that way it's not come always. Particularly, barely possible to hear the teaching of the sacred mantra. So teaching of the sacred mantra means the Vajrayana is not come always. Even the Buddha come give teachings. The Vajrayana teaching is not, I mean, maybe there's some here, there, Vajrayana teaching give, and some individual give, not like a popular like this Buddha's time. You know, say it is, Guru Rinpoche said actually only 3 Buddha's time. Vajrayana come like right now we have. In the past, there's one eon called the Kebakungu, all arranged, you know, this Kelba. And there's some Buddha, Ngunjung Gebo. His time, Vajrayana spread like a, you know, openly give teachings. And now Shakyamuni. And in the future, there's one called the eon, called name is called the Mendokoba. It's like a flower range. And Buddha's name is a Manjushri. And Pema Sambhava said, he looked like me. And the name of the Buddha as a Manjushri. In his time, so Vajrayana is like openly give teachings. So only 3 Buddha in the historical we're saying is only 3 Buddha will give this kind of Vajrayana teachings like openly. Rest of all other Buddhas, they will give the Vajrayana who really need, but not give teaching like this openly. Make sense? Can say openly or what say?
Give teachings openly.
Now, yeah, I think just openly. Yeah. So especially Vajrayana is come this kind of Vajrayana vehicle, have a Vajrayana vehicle, and this openly teaching is like Shakyamuni Buddha give is only 3 Buddha will do that one. In the past, long time ago, 1 Buddha did, and the future there will come 1 Buddha called the Manjushri Buddha, and present Shakyamuni. Only those 3 times. This kind of Vajrayana teaching will not come like this during the Buddha what called the Midriya times, and it not happen during the Buddha Kashyap's time too. So that reason is especially Vajrayana is a really difficult to come, and life doesn't stand still on events moment. So it means the life is moving, you know.
You could say publicly, but I think
openly, yes, openly, yeah. Because a lot of Jiddu, some say it's never give teaching, but Jiddu said they are never giving teaching of the Vajrayana. Because Buddha is omniscient, if there's some disciple who need the really Vajrayana teaching, Buddha will give. Who have a suitable to can receive the Vajrayana teaching, Buddha will give them. So not openly to public like this as only 3 Buddha's time, Vajrayana teachings. Ancho Semcho Rinpoche Manje Banai Je Joje Je Bai Nyam Bai Mem Bai Gone Gondo Pe Wai Joy
Tadang Kunde Tam Jeji Dusundo Sabana Yube Jevezawan Tadang Senje Danje Nyundo Lana Memba Yandava Zobe Janju Rinpoche Toba Joje Cheje Kunse Kunjen Chuje Jeten Nela Wanda Dekumba Renjembe Jetemba Sit Shedru Tusan Gomben Zenjoji